Now, as the Bharat Jodo Yatra chugs along, Rahul Gandhi declares, "Hum jahan gaye, bas pyar hi pyar mila." But his own party men, interestingly, seem to disagree with him. While his close aide Mani Shankar Aiyar says Bharat toota hua hai, the party president Mallikarjun Kharge has said India has become a pit of hatred. For this nafrat, they have solely blamed the BJP and the Sangh Parivar for allegedly dividing the nation along religious, class and caste lines. Understandably, now the BJP is not going to take it down lying. They cite the list of Pakistani backers and India baiters who have been marching step in step with Rahul Gandhi in his Bharat Jodo Yatra. They now lash out, asking who really is breaking Bharat. But first, let's show you how Rahul Gandhi's experience of discovery of India, if you can call it that, is filled with love. However, it seems to differ from his lieutenants who see hate everywhere in India. Listen in.
ये देश एक है, इन सड़कों पे लाखों लोगों से मिला हूं, सारे के सारे एक दूसरे से मोहब्बत करते हैं, प्यार करते हैं, गले लगते हैं।
टूट रहा है भारत,
टूटा हुआ है, इसीलिए उसको जोड़ने की जरूरत है।
नफरत की खाई देश भर में खुदी जा रही है।
Well, the BJP was quick to hit back, saying that Congress's aim is not Bharat Jodo, but Bharat Todo. Listen in to the party president leading the charge.
And one leader had come for the Bharat Jodo Yatra. I never understood whether he's trying to unite or he's trying to break. जोड़ रहे या तोड़ रहे मालूम नहीं. You are the representative of Bharat Todo and we are the representative of Bharat Jodo. I was told I would not like to take the name of the person, but one person who talks about Tamil nation, he was moving around with Rahul Gandhi. In all states you will find all left and right are those people who have been always fighting against the sentiments of the Indian nation.
ये सब डायनेस्टी के डींग मार खां लोग हैं. 30 मार खां होता था ना पहले, उसी तरह से ये डायनेस्टी के डींग मार खां लोग.
She is an activist. She has been interestingly booked for money laundering charges during the Narmada Bachao Andolan. She joined in Rahul Gandhi in November. Then you had George Ponnaya, the Christian pastor. He had said, and let's remind you what he had said, that the impurities of Bharat Mata should not contaminate us. Other vile comments also made by him, but we are not going to repeat those on air. He met Rahul Gandhi in September. Then there was, of course, Kanhaiya Kumar. He is, of course, part of the Congress party himself. He has been booked, remember, allegedly for shouting seditious chants in JNU. He, of course, joined in the Delhi leg. Then, of course, Mehbooba Mufti, the PDP chief, she is all set to join Rahul Gandhi when it enters Jammu and Kashmir. What did she say? Remember, the Bharat Jodo, can you really call it that? Because she had said, I will hoist the tricolour only when we get the Jammu and Kashmir flag back. This is a person who's going to be part of Bharat Jodo to unify India. Then there is, of course, Farooq Abdullah, who's going to be joining in January, the NC chief. Remember what he had said? He said with China's support, Article 370 will be restored. Can this man unite India? Those are the questions which are now coming to life. Let me go across to our panelists, open this up. Joining us today on the show, GVL Narasimha Rao is joining us of the BJP. Dr. Anand Ranganathan is joining us, an author. Kailash Adhikari, MD of Governance, now here on the show. Lokesh Jindal is joining us, a leader with the Congress party. Vivek Bansal is joining us, a member of the Congress Working Committee. There's also Ravi Srivastava, a political analyst. Let me first go across to Dr. Ranganathan. क्या सच में भारत टूट रहा है? Do you think this is hyperbole or is this the honest truth?
You know, if earlier I was not convinced that BJP is sponsoring this Bharat Jodo Yatra, financing it straight from Deen Dayal Upadhyaya Marg, spending hundreds of thousands of crores to finance this. Now I'm absolutely convinced because Mani Shankar Aiyar is out. That man alone is responsible for an increase of at least, 50 to 60 seats for the BJP in its kitty. I mean, and, for people talking about Rahul Gandhi is moving in a t-shirt and braving the bitter winter cold, where was the need to bring out this moth-eaten woolen from yesteryears in order to prop up something that, in effect, is as redundant as Mr. Mani Shankar Aiyar? Because let us be very honest about this. I can give you the data, I can cite you instances. No one No one has broken India more than the Congress, and I'm just talking about historical instances, because I don't believe Congress is the party of freedom struggle. I'm sorry. This Congress is actually Congress Indira, Congress I. So right from 1969 onwards, I'm not talking of the Congress of freedom struggle. Congress has been split more than uranium has been split. I'm sure you know that. So this Congress Indira has broken Congress, has broken India more than any other party has. You want me to cite instances where it has? It is rank secessionist in its thinking and what it is doing. The BJP spokesperson or someone else was absolutely right. It has collected all those nefarious elements that are responsible for rank sedition. You talk about uniting India. You know, for 70 years we had this Article 370. No other article or a constitution amendment has divided India more than Article 370. Lakhs of human rights of lakhs of Dalits, of Gurkhas, of refugees, of women, of Sikhs, of homosexuals were brutally denied in Kashmir because of Article 370. And Congress was the one that brought it over and maintained it for 70 years. These people have the gall now to go to Kashmir and say that we are uniting India. Honestly, the more this Bharat Jodo Yatra goes on, it is indeed uniting India against the Congress.
Lokesh Jindal, is that right? Would you agree that over the decades, about 5 decades and more of Congress regime, look at what has happened. You have had the democracy completely scuttled under the emergency period of Indira Gandhi. Is that what Bharat stands for? Is that uniting Bharat? Let's not forget the way other parts of India, territories of India have been let go. But even if we leave that behind, there are several other instances. Look at the way people who are going to be joining in. Mehbooba Mufti, who refuses to salute and hoist the tricolour. Then you have the hate pastor who walks step in step with Rahul Gandhi, saying wild things about Hindus. Then you, of course, have Kanhaiya Kumar, who till date faces sedition charges. Are these people going to unite India? Kaise jodenge Bharat, Lokesh ji?
So the fundamental difference between Congress and BJP lies in the difference between civic nationalism and ethnic nationalism. Now, Congress as a philosophy is committed to civic nationalism, so it stands for the civil and political rights of every individual. Whereas BJP harps upon ethnic identity and it wants to cleanse away everything that is not as per its ethnic standards. Now, secondly, what Dr. Anand Ranganathan said, that it is not the true Congress. So let me correct him. That it is the true Congress, because if you talk about Congress as a political organization, it was committed to the idea of social revolution, of bringing about social reforms in the country, bringing about economic reforms in the country, and that was what the Indian National Congress had fought for for country's independence. And the split that occurred in 1969 was on the issue of social revolution. So
after
it was
the emergency, some of the biggest, tallest leaders of the Congress party themselves criticized the Congress and went on though.
See, the point is the narrative has put...
Please allow me to
let me complete.
Lokesh, with respect, you took my name. You took my name.
See, the point is...
I didn't
let me complete it.
Okay, let Lokesh Jindal continue. We'll come back to you, Dr. Ranganathan. Huh?
See, you know, Dr. Ranganathan, ethnic nationalism and the political ideology of BJP is like political measles. You know, infants, they are more vulnerable to. Since you are a scientist and a doctor, you'll understand it better. But the more matured a man goes with respect to the political sense, the person realizes that it's not always about ethnicity. It's more about political and civil rights as a democracy matures.
It's interesting that you make distinctions in nationalism. Since you've named Dr. Ranganathan, do go ahead. Reply.
Very quickly, number one, you know, I knew my good friend Lokesh, because he cannot rebut me on pure facts, that this, in fact, this INC is actually Congress I or Congress Indira. He will bring in symbolism, that because this Congress has always stood for economic liberalization and all that, symbolism.
My historical facts are more precise than
please,
you, Dr.
no, please, no, Lokesh.
Listen and do it.
Since you interjected, I completed this. Okay, fine.
Listen to him. Listen to him. Be fair.
Okay.
Go ahead, Dr. Ranganathan.
Yes, and second point, which is very important, twice Mr. Jindal has harped on that Congress is standing for giving civil rights, for human rights. Can I please ask him, could a Dalit, could a woman, could a Sikh, could a refugee, could a Gurkha, could they get a job other than a sweeper's job in Kashmir for 70 years? What human rights are you talking about?
Dr. Anand Ranganathan, the very economy.
What are these human rights which are being talked about? Let me go across to GVL Narasimha Rao. Now, Mr. Rao, interestingly, we have the Congress party now making a distinction between our nationalism and BJP's nationalism. Apparently, their nationalism gives more focus to the civic rights and BJP stands for ethnic nationalism. We're not quite sure what these distinctions are. Seems a bit ambiguous. However, GVL Narasimha Rao, today your party stands accused of nafrat ki rajniti.
All the panelists, I think the nafrat is towards the BJP. It is Congress party's nafrat, animosity towards BJP because they find the Congress party becoming extinct. They see Congress party losing state after state. So it is their intolerance towards the BJP and intolerance towards the rise of BJP. Because today BJP and our leadership, Honorable Prime Minister, and BJP's agenda represents a new India. It represents, by 100th year, we see India as a developed country. We see India today being considered as a major economy, going to be the 5th largest economy in the world. The whole world looks at India as a very progressive nation making rapid strides in development, and Congress party cannot accept any of this. BJP stands for nationalism. It stands for respect for our armed forces. Congress party stands for not Indian nationalism. If they have any other concept of nationalism, they need to speak about it. Their concept is not Indian nationalism. Ours is truly Indian nationalism. Now they will speak for PLA. They will say, the Congress leaders like Rahul Gandhi, they insult our Indian armed forces. They question the bravery of the armed forces. They question surgical strikes. They question the Balakot airstrike. At every stage they use every opportunity to insult and berate India. And to question India's growth, India's move towards a developed country, and therefore I can certainly say they stand for some concept of nationalism which is not Indian. So they need to now spell out, is it country A or B or C that they stand for? Certainly it is not Indian nationalism.
Vivek Bansal, what kind of nationalism does the Congress stand for? When you have the Braves being maligned, the Braves being questioned, the Balakot strike also was questioned, and several other such examples can come to light. You have allies who refuse to even salute the Tiranga. And yet you will preach about other parties allegedly breaking up India. Ye kaun break up kar raha hai India ko?
Let me just tell you, and with all due, I was listening to the arguments which had been put up by all the panelists and trying to bring Congress on the dock. First of all, I would like to remind, when they talk about Mehbooba Mufti, that she would be joining Bharat Yatra, Bharat Jodo Yatra, I would like to remind them that who gave legitimacy to Mehbooba Mufti? I would like to remind them who freed the terrorist in lieu of Mehbooba Mufti, who formed the government when, despite the fact that their utterances and their stand was more than clear. Despite that, BJP in the interest of sharing power, they decide to form the government with them. So just at the moment, since she is joining the yatra, that doesn't mean that we are in toto with her, whatever she is saying. Till the time we feel that somehow, as Mr. Lokesh talked about ethnic nationalism and all, somehow there is a perception. There is a perception that minority community is being targeted. There is a perception. It may be right or wrong. I am not trying to debate that. But we have to go
Who's
by
created
the
this perception?
Just listen. Meghna, let me just complete it. You have to give me. I have this much of right to complete whatever I have to say. It's a saying, that justice should not be done. It should also be done. A country is a pluralistic country. Definitely, you can come out with this that we are majority community has a major share with all this. But at the same time, it is to be an inclusive democracy where all sections, where all religious minorities, they tend to feel secure that we are in safe hands. Constitution is being adhered to. Somehow the perception is going that Constitution is somehow being flouted, and the rights of other beat men.
Mr. Bansal, I find it very interesting because you sidestepped the larger issues. You focused on Mehbooba, but that's a relevant point that you have made. You made that relevant point. Let me take that across to Kailash Adhikari. He has specifically spoken, Kailash Adhikari, about the case of Mehbooba Mufti. Is this politics of convenience at the end of it all? Everyone deciding on what is nafrat and what is pyar ki rajniti, depending on which side of the ideological divide they are sitting on. At the end of it, it's just politics and optics.
You know, Meghna, first, with regards to the statement made by Mani Shankar, I'd like to say that I think the gentleman is forgetting that Bharat ko jodne ka kaam सालों पहले Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel कर चुके थे. It is all thanks to Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel that today we are a united India. Otherwise, we would be a divided India. And Mr. Mani Shankar Aiyar should realize, and I think it's a writing on the wall which he and the Congress party are just not realizing, the kind of remarks that he made even prior to the 2014 election and the kind of results that they saw. And today even he is making the same remarks. And not only him, now the newly anointed president of the Congress party has also started making personal remarks against the Honorable Prime Minister, using unparliamentary language, whether in parliament or out parliament. So I think the Congress must realize that Bharat तो पहले से ही जुड़ चुका है. अगर कुछ जरूरत है तो कांग्रेस को जोड़ने की जरूरत है. You know, the way the electoral losses or the political fate of the party has happened after 2014, they are just missing the point here. In their quest or deep frustration, I must call it, to counter the Bharatiya Janata Party, they are just going against the views of the majority and not realizing that they are now sensing themselves as an anti-national party.
Let me go across to Ravi Srivastava. Ravi Srivastava, would you like to come in, because now there are attacks which are being made on the Congress party कि पहले अपना पार्टी आप संभाल लीजिए, पहले अपना पार्टी जोड़ लीजिए, उसके बाद आप भारत को जोड़िए.
Thank you, Meghna, first of all, giving me a chance to speak in the end. The fact is
apologies for that, Mr. Ravi Srivastava.
As far as Congress is concerned, the Bharat Jodo Yatra has rattled and sent a shivering effect down the spine to the BJP. The kind of people joining it, the kind of response it is getting, it is in fact BJP giving us sleepless nights. The fact is, some of the panelists start speaking right from Aurangzeb, Babur, Shah Jahan, Akbar and all, and they don't talk about what is happening in last 8 years. The nation has broken into pieces in last 8 years. I am not going to talk about the thing Sardar Patel said it. Sardar Patel was about to ban the RSS and called it a party of dacoits and having the violence and creating all kind of mischief in the country. These are his words only. Now, today, you watch it. You watch Sadhvi Pragya, who is giving a training to Harsha killer by sharpening your knife at home. People are coming. You have to kill them. And these are the people who are uniting India. This Sadhvi Pragya, the member parliament of this country, making this kind of nasty remarks in public. You have got Ahmedabad, somebody distributing some as a Santa Claus something. People calling it's a Hindu colony. Do not enter here. You have just attacked a church in Mysuru day before yesterday. What kind of Bharat Jodo you people are doing? You are only dividing into pieces and pieces. And this is what Rahul Gandhi has done in 2,900 kilometers. He has put up not a stop of love. He has in fact opened a wall of the town. In this country of hatred, in this nafrat ke bazaar mein, mall khada kiya hai mohabbat ka. So I think what Mani Shankar's comments are there, they are very valid. And this is a party which is giving lectures on nationalism, who could not hoist the national flag for 50 years.
Okay, let me take that across to Mr. GVL Narasimha Rao.
Who killed Mahatma Gandhi point blank.
Mr. Rao,
Point blank.
Direct question which has been put to you by Ravi Srivastava. ये कौन सी प्यार की राजनीति है? क्या ये नफरत की राजनीति नहीं है? When your parliamentarian comes and says Hindus must sharpen their knives, is that not trying to divide India?
No, I think you are taking just one statement out of context. Let me put 8.5 years of Prime Minister Modi's governance. Today, I think Rahul Gandhi is only trying to divide. The whole country is united today. Jammu Kashmir is peaceful. Entire
let's talk about this statement. No action has been taken against the parliamentarian.
Let me make the larger point. Let me make the larger point. The entire... No, please hang on.
How many civilians have
Ravi, there is no point in shouting. Please wait for your turn.
Okay, let's not heckle each other. However, Mr. Rao, I asked you a pointed question. When there is no action taken against hate, then one would imagine that it is being endorsed by the party GVL Narasimha Rao. Is that not true? Which has happened in the case of Hindus should sharpen knives.
Let me make a larger point first. Which part of India is not united today? Entire Northeast is peaceful. Entire Northeast is experiencing never seen before development.
It is peaceful. Where the government police were firing on each other and killing people. It was peace. This is your democracy.
We're talking about hate now, Mr. Rao. You're avoiding that point.
We will come to that. No.
I'm hoping Mr. Rao will come to that point. Ravi Srivastava, please don't heckle him. Mr. Rao, I'll ask you the same question the third time. No action being taken against inciters and hate mongers, and one of them happens to be your own parliamentarian. Is that pyar ki rajniti?
For the third time, I am saying I will answer that. I make a larger point. You are talking about a Bharat Jodo Yatra. Bharat today is more than ever united. Entire Northeast, which was during Congress rule, was a disturbed region. Today, entire Northeast is peaceful. Entire Northeast is experiencing development. Jammu and Kashmir, people of Jammu and Kashmir are for the first time experiencing all their constitutional rights.
And yet you didn't come to the point. So let me go across to Lokesh Jindal. Let me point specific. I'm going to ask specific questions so that we are fair to both sides. Lokesh Jindal, this is my question to you. You had A.K. Anthony, a very senior leader, who had said it's not just minorities that you require, majorities are Hindu. Here Muslims can go to mosque, Christians can go to church, but when Hindu friends go to temple or apply tilak, it's labelled as soft Hinduism. That attitude is practice. It will help Narendra Modi to come back to power again. There are several such things which are being said. Do you realize that the Congress party has actually come out and said you can't alienate the Hindu vote bank, and playing into the playbook of what you accuse the BJP of playing, which is politics over minorities? And I ask you this specifically because you are trying to make a distinction about the nationalism of the Congress party and of the BJP. How is this different then?
Look, Meghna, there is a difference between nation and state. You know, nation is an idea, state is a bureaucracy. When you look at India solely from the territory, sovereignty, government, and the population, okay, you might say that it is united. It is one single constitution that is functioning upon this territory. But when you talk about the very idea which binds the community together, which creates a feeling of brotherhood, which creates a feeling of nationhood, that is something which is getting impacted because of the narrative that has been set by BJP. What does BJP say? BJP states that its card is based upon Hindutva, whether it talks about the hijab, the halal, the dharam sansad, giving all forms of a free way to anybody who speaks ill about Muslims, any minority, and glorification of one particular religion. Now that very idea of India that Congress had built all through this time period is being distorted because of this narrative that is being set by the BJP.
I will ask it again. Is something that you are accusing the BJP of equally talking about vote bank? You're talking about Hindu votes, you're talking about Christian votes, you're talking about Muslim votes. How is this different? Now you want to make distinction between the state and sovereignty. Sovereignty and democracy, dono chahiye. Ask the people of India, dono chahiye. Both of us signify India for us.
In a democracy, no political party would like to alienate those who are having the majority population base. Congress was never against Hindus. Please get this clear. This was a narrative that was set forth by BJP. The moment Congress came up with positive discrimination, that was portrayed as policy of appeasement by BJP. You look at the track record right from 1950s up till now, the idea was to hold the nation together, to give all forms of positive rights, enable all the minorities to coexist along with the majority community. So this very idea of Congress not being favorable to Hindus is something that is manifested.
Dr. Ranganathan, would you like to step in? Dr. Ranganathan, now there are distinctions being made about what seculars are. Perhaps these are the neutrals that the Prime Minister had warned us about. How they are neutrally secular.
Meghna, please, with your permission, I need at least a couple of minutes because I've been waiting very long and your debate was going brilliantly until, unfortunately, my good friend Ravi ji stepped in and degenerated it. Increasingly, he is resembling both in age and argument Mani Shankar Aiyar. So please, Ravi ji, please allow me. And I actually wanted, I wanted to rebut the CWC member Vivek Bansal ji because मैं उनकी बहुत कदर करता हूँ और वो बहुत sensible चीजें बोलते हैं. मैं दो चीज उनको rebut करना चाहूँगा. With your permission, can I please do it?
Go ahead,
Can I please
Dr.
do that?
Ranganathan.
Thank you. So please hear me out on 2 points. You know, it's a real tragedy that, Mr. Bansal and others feel that, if we criticize Congress government or its policy or traditionally, then, we are anti-Congress or we are anti-India. Absolutely not. In fact, on record, let me put this. If this nation has been saved 3 times in its modern history, it has been done so by Congress. Once, during Green Revolution, Congress saved it. Millions of lives. Second, by Pokhran exploding the nuclear bomb. Okay. And third, most importantly, economic liberalization. So the 3 momentous steps that have saved this country from precipice, from certain abyss, have been taken by the Congress. And I say it openly. But now, I want to say the other thing. 2 things Mr. Bansal mentioned and both I would like to rebut. Number 1. Would he not like to comment when Congress has saved this country from economic precipice and abyss? The 2 big decisions that the Congress has taken lately. U-turn on farm bills that were there in its manifesto. And number 2, on the new pension policy that was formulated by Dr. Manmohan Singh and Dr. Montexel Ahluwalia. It has reverted to the old pension scheme. Is this the same Congress? It is taking India towards destruction. And very briefly, 30 seconds, I want to take this, Mr. Bansal. No, Ravi ji, please. Because my Bansal ji say, honest.
I'll go across to Mr. Bansal after this, but complete your point, Dr. Ranganathan.
Yes, I want to, and a very important point, and this is where when Mr. Bansal says erroneously that there is a perception that minorities understand. Number 1, for 8 years you can't be, Mr. Bansal, living under perception. You have to give facts and the facts are against you. And here I bring to you on the table that if at all, constitutionally, legally, legislaturely, executively, judicially, if any community is being actively discriminated against, it is the majority Hindu community. I can give you 8 instances, starting from the Places of Worship Act, the temples being under the control, the Waqf Act, so many other instances. So the Hindu majority is under threat, not the Muslim majority. Mr. Bansal, either bring your facts on the
respond to that
when you come on the debate.
And I want you to respond to the last allegation which has been made that you and your party perhaps are erroneously trying to save and protect the wrong religious community, even though you call yourself secularism.
This is where the rub lies. In fact, what Mr. Ranganathan had been saying and what Mr. Ravi Srivastava. If he came out with certain facts, that makes Mr. Ranganathan or Mr. Narasimhan very uncomfortable. When he talked about that Pragya, a member of parliament, coming out and asking, advocating the cause of keeping knives to stab or coming whosoever of minority community. What is this? And I see in my district, they are this Bajrang Dal people and all, they are advocating violence. Violence had not been the creed of this country, and violence is not a solution to any.
That works both ways, though.
Violence
this is not expected of you.
Let me just
please bring facts.
Just tell you things when he says that reverting back in economic policies, when Mr. Ranganathan was talking about when they said that over the years he forgets.
One quick word. Sorry to interject. Vivek Bansal, I have a question for you. When Congress's Raja Pateria said that gave a call to kill the Prime Minister, is that the kind of love that you are talking about?
That was
Not only that,
such a dexterous move, and by late Indira Gandhi, we tend to forget the contribution of that. She enhanced the geographical area of this country.
Vivek Bansal, I had a question for you.
Now, when this country, when we talk of a murder of a woman is being cut into pieces by her ex-husband, then we tend to come with love jihad and all. And when these sort of things come with the majority,
this is where
that's exactly where we seem to be digressing here. We are completely digressing and going off the issue. GVL Narasimha Rao, I have a question for GVL. Quickly, if I can come to you, because we want to hear from Mr. Ravi Srivastava before he accuses us of not letting him speak. But GVL Narasimha Rao, is it not true that the MHA in its statement in the Parliament had itself admitted that 2017 to 2021, there have been 2,900 communal incidents which have been registered under the NDA regime. Several such instances. GVL Narasimha Rao, today the Congress is showing a mirror to you.
No, I think you can never look at these incidents in isolation. You have to always see, compare over time.
Okay.
And these are minor incidents. We have been in power for 8.5 years. Minorities have had the safest period during these 8.5 years. Think of the Congress rule. During the Congress rule at the center, and even in the states, there have been several such incidents, communal violence. So these numbers, you should never look at them in isolation. Look at the period between 2009, 2004 to 14 and compare with the last 8.5 years. There have been, during Congress regime, there have been several such major, whether it is communal violence in Muradabad, in Uttar Pradesh. I think there are several such incidents all over the country.
Okay. Ravi Srivastava, that's a direct charge which is coming in that after all, over 5 decades, Raj to Congress ka hi tha, alliance partners ka tha. If today India has become broken and there is a fabric of nafrat which is stitched it together, can the entire blame be put on the BJP for the last 8 years? What about the 75 years which has led up to today?
No, first of all, this is a fake narrative.
RSS and BJP tried to divide India periodically. They did it between 1998 to 2004, but a pioneer leader, a big statesman like Atal Bihari Vajpayee did not allow them to do it. Now here we have got a Prime Minister who is the fountainhead of the hatred. He is the one who said, दंगाई अपने कपड़ों से पहचाने जाते हैं. He has got a person like Yogi Adityanath who talks about Shamshan Kabristan, 80-20, Abba Jaan, Ambi Jaan, Madarsa Band Kar Do, demolition drive, quick justice, bulldozer justice in several states. Not one, several states they are practicing it. This is what is the ground for the nafrat. And I am saying, Mr. Ranganathan should stop playing the bogey. Hindu khatre mein hai. That drama is over. Today everybody knows khatre mein kaun hai.
Let's put some kind of logic and decorum into our discussion here. Kailash Adhikari, you've been very patiently hearing. Now we seem to have digressed about the histories of the two parties and what has come. But today, when we look at the netas, such as Kanhaiya Kumar, who's walking step in step with Rahul Gandhi. Then we see Mehbooba Mufti. What is the message which is going out? Mehbooba Mufti who says, I will not hoist the Tiranga. Today when we see several other people who have charges of taint, you see a hate pastor also who has worked with Rahul Gandhi. What is the message? Can Congress successfully unite India given this checkered past that it has had, which we've just discussed?
Meghna, I'd like to, respond to the gentleman who spoke before me कि खतरे में कौन है. खतरे में कोई भी भारतवासी नहीं है. खतरे में अगर कोई है तो वो पाकिस्तान और चीन है because of the decisive leadership that honorable Prime Minister and the Bharatiya Janata Party have provided to this country since 2014.
Prime Minister,
please allow me to speak. I was patient, sir. Please allow me to speak.
We gave you uninterrupted time. You must
I did not rebut you, sir.
To Kailash Adhikari. Go ahead.
This is what happens because they cannot digest the truth, Meghna. This is what happens. You try to speak out of your turn when you can't digest the truth.
Okay, Kailash Adhikari, go ahead.
Thank you, Meghna. So as I said, खतरे में कोई नहीं है, कोई भारतवासी खतरे में नहीं है. After 2014, not even majority, not even minority, no one has felt out of place in this country. What this government has done is inclusiveness, but inclusiveness with justice. Prior to 2014, there were instances where there was appeasement beyond a certain limit, what has raged the majority. But now there is justice, India is a nation where there is a rule of law, and that is what is being followed. Coming to the second point, what you mentioned about the kind of people that have, stood with Rahul Gandhi during the Bharat Jodo Yatra, we all know their credentials. The kind of statements that Kanhaiya Kumar has made just few days ago about the Honorable Prime Minister's family, this all boomerangs. They don't realize this, but this all boomerangs, Meghna.
Okay. One quick last word, Dr. Ranganathan, I wanted to come to you. When you have on one hand Rahul Gandhi, उनको सब तरफ प्यार ही प्यार दिख रहा है, प्यार ही प्यार मिला है, but you have others who are saying उनको सिर्फ नफरत दिख रहा है, इंडिया, भारत टूट रहा है, it's a cesspool of hatred. Discovery of India seems to have led the Congress in two different paths.
Can I first very briefly disagree with my good friend Kailash Adhikari ji when he says कि कोई खतरे में नहीं है. I disagree because सबसे बड़ा खतरा क्या होता है? मेरी health, मेरी prosperity का खतरा. And I have to say this with the steps that this government has taken by repealing the farm laws, by the steps that the Congress has taken, by reverting to the old pension scheme, the draconian continuance of public sector units. The wealth creation of this country is under khatra. सबसे बड़ा खतरा तो वो है. लॉ एंड ऑर्डर का खतरा भी है, लेकिन सबसे बड़ा खतरा है कि मेरी आने वाली जनरेशंस मुझे कर्ज करेंगी कि पापा मम्मी आप हमें प्रॉस्परस बना सकते थे, आप हमारा जीडीपी पर कैपिटा $15,000 ले आ सकते थे, लेकिन आपने $2,000 तक ही रखा उसको क्योंकि आपकी पॉलिसीज ऐसी थी. तो खतरे में है, लेकिन खतरे से बाहर कौन निकाल सकता है? भारत जोड़ो यात्रा वाले, लेकिन वो नहीं निकाल रहे क्योंकि उनकी पॉलिसी भी तो वही है. मेघना,
Lokesh Jindal, I'll give you 30 seconds. Lokesh Jindal, we needed a strong opposition, but is Congress doing that? Have they done what they should have done as a strong opposition? Lokesh Jindal.
No, Dr. Ranganathan is absolutely right, because the wealth and prosperity of the country is in danger because of the policies of the present government. Demonetization,
Congress has failed to provide an alternative also.
the manner in
which
which economy has been brought to
that you are supporting those policies.
The concentration of wealth is taking place.
Lokesh, you are supporting those
economic
policies.
inequality that is taking place. The manner in which NPAs are rising. All this is.
Lokesh Jindal, you have been taking U-turns in your own policy. Congress came up with the policy, then Congress took a U-turn in the policy. That's what Anand Ranganathan said.
Yes, every policy, every mistaken policy of the Modi government is being supported by the Congress.
The regime from 2004 till 2014, it was we who brought
He's given specifics. Now we really can't just stretch this on and on. I think the point was made that the Congress today says that they want to bring about a change. But what is this change? We seem to be a bit ambiguous about what kind of nationality, what kind of secularism, and how are you going to stitch a country together when the BJP on the other hand said, Bharat ko chodo, tum apna sambhal lo, apni party pehle sambhal lo. Well, thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us here on the show. Always a pleasure to have all of you. But with that, we are going to be moving on.